I wanted to know quick stuff around what I can record at home
Hmm.
and what I should really record in the studio and why should I do it that way.
Okay.
And then I want to know a bit more information about how do we do the sound, like what should I bear in mind to try and have it as equal as possible, or if that doesn't
Hmm.
matter, or that sort of
The
stuff.
most important thing to record in a studio is always the voice
Mm,
because they usually have nicer microphones and the sound padding that we can both see on it in the picture, sorry, and the video.
yeah.
Because that's the hardest thing to edit and afterwards if it's not recorded super dry, basically with no reflections or reverb from your room.
Mm,
Now, you could probably, in fact, do it all at your house if you created a similar environment to the video,
mm.
but you're going there to not have to deal with that stress. You're getting someone who can record you as well at the same time.
Well, I've got to do some studio. So if you want to get grants in Canada through Canada
Hmm.
Council or Montreal Arts Council, you've
Mm.
got to do your first recording has to be a studio album.
Okay.
So I've got to do some stuff in the studio so I can
Hmm.
say I recorded at this studio. This was my technician. And then I sent
Hmm.
it for sound engineering, and this is my music producer, and you'll be there.
Okay.
So, and then once you got that first album, you're eligible for grants and for funding and stuff. So I can't do
Okay.
everything at home.
Okay.
What I've been doing at home is like mentally preparing for the amount of practice I've got to do and just thinking about the techniques and the logistics. And so I've got that in my
Hmm.
mind when I walk in. I know what I'm asking for. I know how to get the results I need. And I'm not sort of
Okay.
in the dark like many first people recording when they've never done
Hmm.
that before. That's the
Mm.
idea.
Well, definitely all the vocals in the studio. And then if you have enough time, so perhaps even start with the vocals and
Mm,
then, move on to violin and ukulele. Things like percussion don't make a huge difference. You could record those at home, your
yeah.
shakers and your claps, because they're meant to sound like they're in a room, or at
Yeah.
least I would process the hell out of them in my digital environment to make it sound like it's in a room.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and what I recommend actually is that you test record everything.
Mm,
So at your house, you record the entire song with every instrument as you envision it going in the studio, so that when you're in the studio, you can copy the track you've already recorded and you can tell if there's any deviations. Yes, because then you're not faffing about. You're like, nope, I'm not playing this violin lick convincingly enough. The demo recording is there. I sound a bit flat on that note. Can we try that one again? You're really
perfect.
reducing mistakes down. The more you can test record it, the better. If you can do each one two or three times, then you know
Yeah.
you're in the zone.
Okay, amazing. Because I wanted to record like the stuff that I've been putting on Instagram is just for like it's my practice and
Hmm.
music production at home to just understand what I'm going through. But I hadn't thought about using it as my what do they call
It's like
it?
a template, basically, of everything you're going to do.
Exactly, exactly. And then just going one by one, listening to what I've got in my headphones and trying to reproduce it in a better situation. Okay, perfect.
Exactly. That's what we do. We'd have a demo vocal that we've worked on, and
Mm,
then we're like, it has to be better than this, or we're using the demo if the recording is not as good as the demo. So that's another thing. You can record everything in the studio, but have a better demo, and then just select the demo and nobody needs to know.
yeah,
You could,
exactly.
you can say you recorded everything in that studio, but if, say, the violin part works better for the last bit of the song from the demo, you stick it in there, and it'll be my job to make it seem like one performance.
Right. And then, so what do I need to think about for like the recording for voice, for violin? Because I feel like it's constraining
Yeah.
having a microphone and having to speak that close to the microphone. And then it's even
Hmm.
worse with the violin, you know?
Yeah. It's
So
even
what
more
do I,
sensitive.
yeah, it's like I have to get a pickup basically. I still haven't bought a violin pickup, but
Okay.
I'll get a Fishman or something like that because they're
Hmm.
not super expensive.
I think that's a good idea because what I will then do is blend the sound of the microphone and the pickup together, which will make it seem really lush. And the
Perfect.
pickup will keep the sound consistent if you decide to move, which you should with the performance. You know, if you look at like, I was watching Isaac Perlman, don't know how to pronounce his name, but he was
Mm,
just moving with all the stuff. And you
mm.
should. That's great Alexander technique. You have to move. You can't be a rigid robot. It's just not how music is working, you know?
Exactly. And that's the thing that having a fixed microphone and not even on a tripod so I can like shift it around. It's really tough to work with a microphone that just sits on the desk. And so, okay, cool. So get a pickup, get used to that.
For the voice, I would try, you might have to buy like a mic stand because they're a bit more adjustable than the tripods. You know,
Mm,
when I'm singing live, I can sing here one moment or pull it with me the next if I want to do that, or dip
hmm.
down if I want to look like I'm going down, or often I would jump around and spin. It's very silly. But,
Nice
then I have to
performance.
seek, yeah, exactly. I have to seek the mic position as soon as I've jumped around. I'm like, whoop, there it is, back in front of it.
Exactly, exactly. Okay.
Now, there's a bit of play. So they say the ideal distance is 1 to 6 inches. So you can kind of go between that. But once you're going beyond the 6 inches, you're going to sound weaker and weaker,
Mm,
which actually isn't a problem if I'm mixing it. I can just really tweak each one to sound in level. But it does sound a bit better on recording if you stay within those 1 to 6 inches.
yeah, yeah. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
And
Um,
ukulele, does it have a pickup?
the ukulele has a pickup,
Fantastic.
but I haven't yet bought that Raspberry Pi thing or whatever. I don't know. You recommended something to me.
Oh, yes. The studio will have something there. You know, you don't
Yeah,
need to buy one. Might
right
be handy
now.
for test recording, but
Yeah,
you know, you don't essentially need it. As long as you
okay.
have the performance down and you can copy the performance, the sound engineer in the studio will make it sound as best as he can. And it's highly likely there are very expensive ones in comparison to the one I suggested you get.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was thinking is it's actually good to pay a bit of money per hour. So
Hmm.
I'm going to get such a better experience, better sound, better quality.
Hmm.
And if I can get, so I'll get the voice and the violin done in the studio because it's just more natural to move around.
Hmm.
And then if I do have time, I'll do the ukulele. But
Yeah.
if not, I'll buy an audio interface and just use it, record
Yeah,
around
exactly.
as part of
Exactly.
my demo anyway.
Yes, I think so. And then the
Okay.
same thing, you can record the pickup and the mic at the same time, and the blending together will get a really consistent sound.
Why is it a more consistent sound if you record from two input sources?
Just because the mic and the pickup are going to have different frequency responses, which means they're going to pick up different frequencies at different strengths. Remember that EQ plugin we used? I don't know how to describe it well,
Yeah,
but
no,
it's
I understand it. I understand.
okay. The pickups tend to pick up more dead and woody sound, so they don't pick up air movement, which means they're not going to get any like sparkle from the air. And then the mic will pick up the sparkle, and then we sort of blend them together. Now, you don't have to do that. It's just nice to do that.
It ends up with a nicer, more vibrant, energized
Yes,
sound, I guess.
exactly. The pickup will give a bit more bass richness from your instrument. Bass in inverted commas. You
Mm,
know, it's just going to sound richer in the low mids, really. And then the microphone is going to sound more exciting in the upper frequencies.
Mm, that
They
makes
often
sense
do
because
it.
the violins are high pitched and can be a
Mhm,
bit thin and reedy. So if you can make the bass a bit more robust, it'll
mhm.
end up being better. Okay.
Exactly. And the microphone depends on the size of this thing called a diaphragm inside of it. It's like behind the grill, basically. The larger it is, the better bass response. It can pick up
Mm,
bass frequencies better, but most microphones are not that large.
okay. Okay.
This is
Awesome.
getting a bit technical. I hope it's not.
No, I understand it. I understand
Okay.
it. Okay. So would you imagine that 4 or 5 hours per song in the studio is going to get the job done for violin and voice at least?
I think so, especially if you've prepared recording already
Mm,
and you
yeah.
know where the difficult parts of each song is. And you might go, "Oh, I've got a few high notes there on the vocal, so I need to be extra alert for that. I might do that section on its own, but the next three lines I can do together because they flow well." You can
Okay.
make those kind of notes just so you know. You don't want to waste your mental energy with that stuff in the studio. Should I do it by this section? Should I do it?
Yeah.
Either you have it decided or you need to go home and decide it. But if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just picking on the clock, you don't want to faff about. And if you feel ultra organized, you'll be like, I know I'm doing this, 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 and this. And if something goes really tough, you might have to split it a little bit further in the studio.
Perfect. Okay.
But you've got a nice plan. When we record vocals, we're kind of like that. I'm so pedantic. I want to do one verse a day, then the
Okay.
chorus the next session. So we split it down real far because I'm so anal about the singer getting the right pitching.
Oh my God, yeah. Doesn't
No, you
that
don't have to go that crazy.
I won't be going that crazy because, well, the style of the music just doesn't need that sort of finicky perfectionism
Hmm.
in what I'm doing. Isn't it an issue recording on different days just because of
It
sound
can,
qualities, external qualities?
yes, even the settings of your interface.
Yeah.
But we do that for all of our songs, and it's basically on the mix engineer, which is me, to make it sound like it's all on one day, which can be difficult, but it just has to be done.
Okay. Okay.
We did that especially with our first song, Paradise. Um, it was recorded over 7 weeks, and Milena, the
Oh.
singer, said the same thing. She was like, "But my last engineer told me that even if you turn up the gain on the amount of volume coming in, it changes everything." And I was like, "Don't you worry about that. I'll sort that."
Okay.
Ideally, it would be nice to do it in one session, at least one instrument part, If you can record all the vocals on one day and it takes 4 hours, give yourself a pat on the back. That's really good. And then
Yeah.
come back and do the violin another day. If you can do both in one day, you are kicking ass.
Okay, cool. That's good
Mm,
to know.
mm,
So three times $30 times four, let's say 4 hours,
mm.
6120. So I'm gonna look at it like 120 to $200 budget just for the
Okay.
recording studio.
Yeah.
I need to write that down.
Is that expensive for you?
Well, it's like it's as I'm maturing, I'm feeling like I need to get some of my musical stuff recorded because
Mm,
we don't have much time as musicians, Like in 30 years' time, my ears are gonna go, my fingers are gonna get arthritis or rheumatism, and I'm
mm.
not gonna have the chance to say, wow, look at that. I created this thing, this whole freaking album. I think it's
To
quite
like
special.
studio standard.
Yeah. I mean, it would be even better if it sold and if people bought it, but I'm not expecting huge sales for like jazz violin. you
It's
know?
still popular. Jazz is still a popular genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Okay.
definitely agree, and it's worth the investment. I've paid before I moved to the UK, I paid over €1,000 in studio time
Mm,
for like 3 songs. So it was
mm,
roughly
mm,
330 per song. So you're getting really good rates if you do one song at 120.
mm. I mean, that would be ideal. It would be if I could be that efficient and cost
Mm.
effective, I'd be quite proud of myself.
I think you'll get there because the complicated things to record are like full bands, like drums and electric guitars, and if you had two violins and all this stuff, an accordion player and whatnot, you would
Mm.
be struggling with all those instruments.
Oh my God, yeah. Each instrument would have to have its 3 or 4 hours in front
Yes,
of the mic.
exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. And then, so let's imagine that I'm in the studio, I've all prepared, I've got my demo, it's playing through the headphones. What do I need to tell the technician? Like, is there special advice I need to give him for jazz or for violin or for voice?
I
Because,
would
like,
have a little chat with him or her beforehand,
yeah,
because you just want to say what your vision is. It's
yeah,
nice that you can guide them because then they know what kind of sound you want. So you say you're like doing sort of solo jazz, you're going to have violin and ukulele and some percussion in it, but
yeah,
not much other instrumentation. And you want the most natural but rich sound. That's what the words I would use. I want a very
okay,
natural but very rich sound.
okay. And the richer it is, the better, because then when I pass it over to you, you've got the full palette of sounds, tonalities, and colors
Exactly.
to play with. Okay, cool.
Because for me, if it's too rich, that's fine. I could just tame it a bit. But adding richness is more difficult in the digital world.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that just playing on GarageBand and trying to do my sound engineering for the stuff I've put out so far. It is not easy to add if your
Hmm.
violin is like thin and reedy. It's
Mm,
like tough to add richness and depth and bass without it starting to sound distorted or fuzzy in some ways. And okay.
exactly. That is so true. It's a really nerdy point you bring up because all plugins basically degrade the audio somehow, even
Mm,
when they're doing their functions. So the less
mm,
you have to do, the better.
okay. And so so let's imagine that I've recorded for 3 hours and I'm like, okay, that's it. Thanks. Amazing. What do I ask from them?
So you want the stems of each instrument separately with
Yeah.
no effects. Actually, you want mono stems unless he's recording you with a stereo pair, but I wouldn't recommend that anyway. So
Okay.
mono stems of each
Because
instrument. Sorry,
no,
apologies.
you don't. You were saying no stereo because we can pan left and right and add stereo ourselves.
Exactly. If you record in
Yay!
stereo, it's printed and you can't change that.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I cut you off. You were saying something else.
Oh no, that's fine. As mono stems with each track or mic separately and no effects on it.
No effects. Thank you.
Yes, that's the thing many people don't realize is that they just send it with the effects, and I'm like, but I can't work with this now. Can't work
Yeah,
my magic.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, and then they'll give me these in like FLAC or AIFF or some
It
very
must be
high quality.
AIFF or WAV, nothing else. Only
Okay,
one of those two.
AIFF or WAV
Yeah,
files. Okay.
because FLAC is slightly lower quality.
Oh, is it? Hey? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then, um, okay, now I've got the stems, I've got everything.
Mhm.
How do I prepare this raw stuff? in a way to send it to you to minimize your work preparing the audio so that you can start doing the sound engineering.
Oh, that's a good point. Start them all from the same bar number or line. I recommend the beginning of a bar. It just makes life easier.
Yeah,
And then just send them to me. I just had a thought as well, actually. If they're using Logic, they could send me the entire project, in which case I'll have to do even less work. They'll all be ready to go.
amazing. If Logic is used, can send project to Brody.
Yes, yeah. And it's called a
Okay,
project file.
okay. So either AIFF or WAV or even better, the Logic file if they're using Logic.
Yeah. I
I can,
suspect they will be because it's the cheapest door available,
yeah,
despite the fact it's really good.
right. I can see I'm on there.
Yeah, we could probably check their website, right?
Audio, audio mixers. Behringer,
Okay, nice.
Mackie, and Zoom.
Mackies are very good speakers.
Okay. And I can hire that for 20 bucks a day, which is not too bad. Oh, I think that's if I hire out, but I can use it. That's what they're going
As
to
per.
have in the studio.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. But it's not talking about
You could email them because I can't see it either, and just see what call it a DAW they use.
yeah, okay, I'll do that. It's
I mean,
about re
it's no big deal to me, to be honest. I often have to drop stems, they're called stems, when you send individual files. I often have to drop them into our projects.
okay, cool. Audio, they got a Zoom live track thing. They got Scarlett 2i2 interface, Mackie
Very
mixer.
good.
Yeah.
That's the one I
Zoom.
recommended to you.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Yes, that is, isn't it? Okay. So then I just need to check what door they're using.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And
Um,
like I say, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But if they use Logic, it's very nice to just receive the whole file and I can open it and see exactly where everything is already.
Perfect. Is there anything
So,
else I need to do to prepare it so that you can open it and start working?
no, no, as long as there's no effect on the file and they're in the place where they should be.
Okay. And then, okay, so let's talk sound production and engineering.
Hmm.
What's the sort of stuff that you would do once you get the
Um,
Logic Pro? How long
once
would
I
it
get,
take?
I usually take a day to mix, which is pretty fast. Some people take a day or two. It depends on like what's going on in the track,
Hmm,
or and also if I need a bit of break time from it,
hmm,
because I need to like check it the next day. It's like writing an article and then editing it the next day.
hmm. Okay. And what sort of, so it's about a day.
Yeah.
And then what are the fees that a regular sound engineer would charge for that work?
I mean, I don't know. I think most of them would charge about 30 an hour.
Okay, that's everything I needed to ask you like now, just so that I can keep preparing these demos and then practice towards that. I think I'll only be doing it in like October, November. And
Yeah, give yourself enough time to get there.
yeah, because I've got to do demos for at least 8 songs.
Okay.
I've only done one that I put on Instagram, which was an Ella Fitzgerald song, but I want minimum, like I want 3 instruments for each of the songs on my demo. So basically
Okay.
violin, ukulele, voice, and it's because I want the jazz violin to be something prominent. So I don't want to do ukulele voice, which is just very common, you know.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
I want to
Much
add
less
that
marketability to have that combination.
everyone, like, man, going to that festival was fantastic, but everyone has a ukulele.
Ah, okay.
So I didn't realize it was quite so common, you know. There were a
Hmm.
bunch that played mandolin, which
Oh,
I
nice.
thought, oh, that's nice. Maybe I'll buy myself a mandolin sometime and do that because it's so versatile. It's tuned the same as violin.
I was just gonna say,
It's so much easier. And then
yeah,
it's also a bit different. That combo of violin, mandolin, voice is a bit more different than the ukulele. So I was
I
thinking,
like the way you think on that.
yeah. And then like anything that like makes you stand out a little bit for being different is a good thing, I think. So
Extremely. It's just really good now in this current modern industry. Stand out to the max.
yeah, yeah. Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, that's everything that I needed to ask you.